the cat's away, the mice will play. Happy vacation to Adam Hogue as we start the CHGO Bears Podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app. Use that promo code CHGO when you sign up. We miss you, Adam Hogue, even though you said you weren't going to listen to the show. But yes, I get to hang out with my adorable friend, Gregory P. Braggs, today.
We're doing it.
The P stands for Justin Fields, as we are going to delve into the fact that there's...
You invite me to this show so we can hold hands while we jump into the fire.
Well... Look,
Thelma and Louise. Who's Thelma? Who's Louise?
You love the fire, and I need you today.
I will embrace the fire.
We're going to embrace it. We're going to give you a chance in segment 2 here to discuss Devin Hester and the disappointment of him not getting into the Hall of Fame. But there's just been a ton of chatter in the last 24, 48, starting really back in the Super Bowl week about Justin Fields, which is not surprising. And Colin Cowherd stirred up the conversation yesterday.
As he does.
And Colin is, a lot of people have varying opinions on Colin, like people have varying opinions on everybody. And you can have varying opinions on my fresh cut. Thank you, Cass.
You know how hard it is to do a show by yourself?
Colin's one of the most talented people that's ever done this. And
I love Les Grobstein, a legend in this city, able to do a 5-hour show where he essentially talks to himself.
I mean, I don't know if you can compare the Grobber to Cowherd.
I mean, as we just learned yesterday.
I'm just saying, to do that by yourself, I don't think people realize
Carm could do it on the train.
That's a talent.
He does it on the train.
I do it on the train. I have a train story in the final segment
today.
Great.
Cannot wait.
You're going to like this one.
Carm and I both don't listen to anyone, so it's basically us just talking to ourselves while we do a show here today.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's just play Cowherd to start the show.
Okay.
Cowherd was going through his take, and we pick it up midway through, where he lists out his 4 reasons. He gives 4 reasons that I'm actually going to retake notes on as he's giving them right now, on as to why the Chicago Bears, Ryan Poles, should consider trading Justin Fields as he enters his 3rd year in the NFL.
Here's 4 reasons. 1 more season of average to bad, and you'll get nothing for him. Secondly, the Bears have a defensive coach and a defensive culture, and they didn't draft him. He's not their guy. Third, Chicago probably won't have the number 1 pick for a while. I don't think they'll be good, but you're not going to be in this territory again. Use the opportunity. And 4, you had Khalil Mack and Roquan Smith, and you couldn't win games. You think Will Anderson is going to come in and turn the franchise around? In an offensive pivoting league where it's hard to go on a 10-game losing streak, in a year the Packers were down and the Vikings and Lion defenses were atrocious. They lost 10 straight games. I think you have to consider calling Atlanta and saying, we'll give you Justin Fields. Give us your 8th pick. Go get Bryce Young. And then go get the 2nd or 3rd best edge rusher. I like Justin Fields, but I've never, ever thought he was Trevor Lawrence. I don't think he's close to Caleb Williams or Drake May. I don't think he's an Andrew Luck. I don't think he's a guy that can succeed if the circumstances aren't great.
So there was Colin, and... Well, first off, I want to just shoot through what he just said. Okay. First of all, you don't make any Justin Fields deal at the very start of it because his value is going to be gone. That would be operating completely out of scarcity,
right?
And it's just unlikely and not true. Justin Fields is going to have value at the end of next season. He would have to completely turn and go the opposite way. So the whole get nothing thing, is just it's a bad way to.
In his scenario, he's assuming he's going to play worse or the same and the value goes down. That's what he's drawing up in that scenario.
Right. And I just don't think you can operate that way. You have to believe in your organization. You have to believe in moving forward. You have to believe that Fields is going to take a similar style leap from year 2 to year 3, which would be the logical thing that would happen. He's another year in the offense with Luke Getsy. Shout out another podcast. Part of my take did a great interview with Fields. They had him for a long time. And one of the things that Fields said in there was that, look, I finally have an offseason where we can actually build on the offense. And I know what offense I'm in, which that was like the slightest amount of frustration that he's ever really let out about what's, the fact that, the process of what's happened here. So I finally, I mean, it's like, it jumped off the screen for me. So he feels more comfortable where he's at. He showed huge growth. It's just so unlikely that his value is going to go to nothing. And I don't like just thinking that way. The defensive coach thing, that's why you hired Luke Getsy. Like, the Bears hired Matt Eberflus, and hopefully it'll work out. They hired him to be a leader, not to lead a team, a defensive stalwart team to a Super Bowl.
Right. You need a quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, they're making a bet on Eberflus's leadership.
Get to the last 2 points because I think these are easier to
you want to get
just
to
completely rip apart.
Well, I've got Roquan and Khalil Mack. You want that one?
Yeah, I mean that's a silly one right there because.
So no defensive players are ever going to be worth bringing in because we didn't win more with
and
come on.
They're in a rebuild process. They're installing a totally new team with Justin this season. So to say, well, they didn't win with Mack and Roquan, that doesn't correlate to saying that Justin Fields can't do it because those guys couldn't do it. It has absolutely no correlation whatsoever.
And again, you don't know what's going to happen, how much impact Jalen Carter is going to have, or Will Anderson's going to have, or any defensive player. That's just I'm not following his logic there either. And then he mentions Caleb Williams and Drake May.
Well, this is the other part that I wanted to dissect.
Yeah.
Did he mention Bryce Young?
Excellent point.
He named a bunch of quarterbacks that he thinks, these guys are better than Justin, but he did not say Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud or Will Levis. And that's if you were gonna be crazy enough to make a move like this, you have Ryan Poles specifically would have to be all in on one of those 3 quarterbacks. Obviously, everyone feeling Bryce Young being the best of the crop, and if Ryan Poles felt so strongly about one of those guys, you can't depend on Caleb Williams a year from now, even if you do trade Justin Fields for future draft equity that you might get. You can't do a might if you make a colossal trade that just shifts the whole Chicago fan base into a frenzy. You have to be bringing in a quarterback now that shows I have the solution.
Right.
So him not naming any of the 3 quarterbacks this year just completely throws that whole take out the window as far as I'm concerned.
Right. And again, by the way, and I'm just paying attention to the chat as I always do and appreciate everybody. This is not blasting at Colin for me thing. Like, Colin's got a show. Everybody's got to fill content, and Colin has opinions, and he's entitled to his opinions, and that's how this works. And this is no coward bashing. It's just, but going through, like, if Colin was sitting here, we could go through this conversation, and maybe we can get Colin on at some point. I actually have a way to get to Colin. That's a story for another time. My point is this, though, for everybody. Is there a price? You're a diehard Fields guy. I love Justin. He gave me the dap at the Super Bowl, even though he didn't come out with us. Hopefully he will down the line. All that stuff. Huge fan of QB1. Exhausted fully by the Bears quarterback process for my entire life. Greatest quarterback for me as a Bear is still Jim McMahon, and the guy played here for 5 minutes because he was, hurt so much. I was never a Cuddy guy. And Fields, for me, is incredibly likable. He's a first-class guy, and he wows you with the talent. And you logically watch him and think, look, put some weapons around him, and this guy is going to be successful. All of it. It feels pretty comfortable. However, is there a price that you actually would consider? The most you can trade out, Braggs and I were talking about this before the show, as far as first-round picks, is 3 years.
3 years into the
three years into the future.
Not 3 future first-round picks, but 3 future draft cycles. You cannot trade 4 years into the future.
And so the Houston Texans have 2 first-round picks this year, 2 and 12. They've got 2 first-round draft picks next year, their own and the Browns from the Watson trade, and then they have their own in 2025. That's 5.
Would
for you diehards out there? Would you trade Justin Fields for the 2 first next year and the Texans first round pick in 2025?
5 first round picks.
Would
those.
Would you do that? And it's okay if you wouldn't, by the way, because you just want to see this play out. Period. End of story. There is no price.
Right. And like when we talked about this last night, and this was what you were considering diving into, I knew, and I've already gotten a few tweets and people when we put the link out, going crazy about it. But I think it's a reasonable exercise to at least have. It is the offseason where you've got to consider all scenarios. Ryan Poles is doing that. If he's not doing his job as GM. Of course, we are all in on Justin Fields. I have pushed my chips all in on Justin Fields. But when you start talking about would you take 5 first-round picks and then just draft Bryce Young at 2 this year, and then you still have 4 first-round picks, and they could also add second-round picks attached to that deal. We've seen some crazy trade offers. When the Bears were, Ryan Pace was willing to mortgage this entire franchise for Russell Wilson. Thank God he didn't. After everything that transpired, but he was offering the Bears 3 future first-round picks and 2 starters, and then I think another later-round pick or 2 within that package. Well, that's insane, and that's something that right, like Von's saying in the chat, the 5 first-rounders is insane, and that's what we're saying. Like, what is there a threshold that any of us, including me as a diehard emotional Chicago Bears fan, would even consider trading Justin Fields? Because I just think it is an interesting conversation, because I'm at a no, absolutely not. We're not trading Justin Fields. He is the guy. But unfortunately, even though I feel very strongly that Justin Fields can be every bit the quarterback Jalen Hurts is, I have been wrong before. And anybody that follows me on Twitter knows how invested I was in the idea that Mitch Trubisky could become a great quarterback. And once upon a time, before I turned on Jay Cutler, there was a point where I thought he was going to be the guy that led us to a Super Bowl. So I've been wrong before, so I'm willing to at least acknowledge the conversation, even though I feel like Justin Fields is a much different dude than Jay Cutler and Mitch Trubisky, and I do feel strongly that he will become the guy that he is now.
Okay, just don't. You said a lot, and that's adorable, and that's why we love you. You impaled your argument when you brought up the fact that you would not have traded Mitch Trubisky. But here, let's talk about this.
I've been wrong. That's my point.
I understand, but the
fact you have to at least consider this stuff, because we have been wrong as fans.
Yeah. We got a super chat from our guy Fernando. 199. No one is untouchable. I'll take the right deal. And I'm seeing some. Yes, yeah, by the way.
I threw a poll in the chat.
Yeah.
On the YouTube, and it's basically, is there a deal that would make you agree to trade Justin Fields? And right now, yes is at 41.
Okay.
And no is at 59.
So we're getting some level of remote balance, and I, just to be clear, from my seat, any answer is an okay answer right here. It's always an okay answer, but I'm not pushing either side. There's no hot take coming from Karn today. I'm like, you have to do it, or I really just want to take a temperature here. But you look back at trades that did happen. DeSean Watson, and you always want to deal with franchises that are completely and utterly inept and moronic, like the Cleveland Browns, who would be willing to give $230 million to a guy who's got 23 sex scandals hanging over him, and
is that all?
I mean, it was just unbelievable, the whole deal. But this was the deal. The Browns get Watson and a 2024 6-rounder. Well, if you throw in that 6-rounder, which adds on to the idiocy of that deal. We'll give you a 2022 first, a 2023 first, a 2024 first, a 2023 third, a 2022 fourth, and a 2024 fourth. 3 firsts, a third, and 2 fourths. We doing that? I mean, are we making that trade? Because that's a trade that actually happened. And if you ask me right now who I would rather have as my quarterback, DeSean Watson or Justin Fields, I would take Justin Fields.
Right.
Now, Watson was way more successful to that point in his career than Fields was to this point in his. But who would I rather have going forward between those two? I'd take Justin Fields.
Well, and Robert Friel says in the chat, I'll take the guy we already know is the guy. And while I'm with you, Robert, but at the same time, if we want to be objective, I could just stand up here and shake my pom-poms with you. But do we actually know for sure? I mean, I feel very strongly, but I don't know if we know for sure.
We don't know for sure.
That's what Ron Burgundy says. Fields hasn't really shown he is the guy.
I mean, look, if you were betting, is he going to be a viable starting NFL quarterback who can win a Super Bowl? I think overwhelmingly that poll would be yes, and I would agree. But he's still, he's
This is the comment right here.
They still have to get there. From our guy Joseph.
San Giovanni.
Wait, you cannot. What's that?
You cannot preach a culture and trade the heart and soul of the team. And this is a point I made before the show when we were discussing this a little bit. The city would rip Ryan Poles apart. The fan base would be, me included, very upset about him making this kind of a move. And B, the team, the players in the locker room. Now, I had a little pushback on this, but I feel that there'd be a large majority of the players in that locker room that would have no respect for a move like that.
You can't worry about that. Listen, first of all, the Bears roster is going to have an enormous amount of turnover still. How many pieces are we keeping? Half the team? Maybe a third of the team? You're going to be having a lot of massive turnover in this year going to next, and probably the same thing going into 2024. But you would be starting over. It would be a start-over situation.
And he'd be because to me, you're only making that move if you then draft Bryce Young with the second pick.
Right, and
so now you're bringing Bryce Young into the Hornets' nest as a guy who a lot of fans are, it's almost like confirmation bias. They'll, in a weird way, want to see him fail just because they're so upset with the move that Ryan Poles made. So in a sense, he's not coming in like as this hero for the franchise the way we treat Justin Fields. He'd be in a way a public enemy,
I don't that's an interesting point. I don't think people would be like F Bryce Young or F CJ Stroud if they traded Fields and they would just want him to fail.
So
am I wrong about that?
No, I feel like it would be more aimed at the front office.
So the Mitch thing would be the best comparison because when they drafted Mitch Trubisky, the whole fan base booed collectively. They showed the video clip at Soldier Field when they did the draft party. The minute they drafted him, everyone was mad. I was mad. I had a friend sitting next to me, a Lions fan. I said, he goes, when they traded up, they go, who do you want? I go, anybody but that guy from North Carolina because I don't know who he is. They better be taking DeSean Watson because I know what he did against Alabama in 2 national championship games or whatever. And they draft Mitch Trubisky, and I lost it. I was so upset. But by the time training camp came around, you start to get invested as a fan emotionally. You want to see your team succeed, so you start to conjure up how this player can work out. That's what we do. Fan is short for fanatical. So, but at first, and I do think there's a segment of fans that will never come off. Like there were fans that never liked Mitch because they never liked the move that was made. And I think there would be that would be element with Bryce Young.
That would be. I mean, I liked Mitch as a guy. I never thought he was a good quarterback. We can't trade away the player that finished 9th overall in MVP voting from Matt W. Okay.
Thanks, Matt.
$4.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Matt. Appreciate it. To be honest, I didn't even know that.
Eighth overall. He got 1 5th place vote. There's actually a list of players, and it's like 12 players that got MVP votes, and Justin Fields was one of them.
Somebody gave a 5th place vote.
Someone gave him a 5th place vote, which then he ended in a 6-way tie for 8th place in the MVP voting.
Who gave him a 5th place vote?
I don't know, but that man's a genius.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Shout out to Hunter. He just gave us a $1.99 super chat. No comment. Just a.
Thanks, Hunter.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Hunter.
you. And here's just looking back at recent trades of note. The Seahawks deal for Russell Wilson. They got 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks for Russell Wilson. Now, at that point in time, Russell Wilson was looked upon as a better quarterback than Justin Fields. Would anybody in the NFL take Russell Wilson over Justin Fields right now? Absolutely not. Not a single team. So, again, like I was having a conversation last night with someone, like, what is his actual value? To the point, it's everyone's point, like, this will never happen. You're right. I would 99.9% they ain't trading him. But I am also curious, like, if they did put him out there, what exactly is he worth right now? What do we think he's? I mean, can you to Cowherd's point?
I mean, the baseline is the Watson trade, because you're trading Watson.
They're not. There's no way. There's no team out there that's given Watson value.
Watson came in with way more baggage. It's not just the on the field stuff. You're trading for a guy with that kind of baggage.
The
Browns
Browns
doesn't have any of that.
Browns didn't give a shit about the baggage.
Well.
Clearly. They that did not factor remotely into it. They just looked at it
and a guy that hasn't played in basically 2 years.
Right.
Either.
They looked at a dude who could throw a 65-yard bomb on the money, and it was and was 28-2 and won national championships. By the way, Fields' college career is fantastic too, but you're not getting that. There's no way. You think that
then you're not making the trade.
You're right, correct, which is why it won't happen. But I'm wondering, like, if you put him out there right now, what do you think his value is? I mean, this is where we have to live.
Some team would give you 3 first-round picks for Justin Fields. Yes, they would. There has to be. One person gave him an MVP vote.
I don't know.
The majority of the players that played against Justin Fields this season said he was amazing. I guarantee there's a GM and a head coach out there that feels the same way watching Justin Fields play with this team. Because another person brought it up in the chat, because he said Cowherd had his clown segment saying the O-line wasn't bad. And part of that clip that we didn't play early on is he references that the offensive line wasn't bad, which is false. I do not care what PFF says. Yep, anybody that actually watched the games can tell you that the O-line didn't play well, and I guarantee a GM recognizes that and thinks that Justin Fields is worth 3 first-round picks.
Okay, but let's live in reality just for a second here, okay?
I refuse.
And again,
shout out to Hunter
chat from Hunter, my guy. We're still hearing about Mahomes. Imagine if we trade Fields and he becomes great. No way I can handle that on a complete unknown quarterback. Right, Hunter? It would be. I got it. That would be the night.
But to flip that on you, Hunter, because this is where I'm at too, and that's because we are all emotionally invested in Justin Fields. We are all in on Justin. But to flip that on you, how awful will we feel if Justin, God forbid, doesn't work out and isn't the guy, and Bryce Young becomes the next Jalen Hurts or a great young quarterback in this league, or ends up better than Justin Fields? That's the scenario that's playing out right now.
Which is a possibility, of course. Look, when I'm trying to live in reality here on your value, how many of Justin Fields' starts would you actually fly up there and say, that's a great game?
Well, the 6-game run this year was every one of those were a great game. From the Patriots all the way until the Falcons game when he got hurt, all 6 of those games were great games. The 49ers game, week 1, in the monsoon, was a great game.
So that's 5 games leading into the Atlanta game. And
then the Niners game,
and
that's 6. And then the rookie
You mean
year,
the Packer game? Which Niners game?
The first game of the year against the Niners.
You're giving him credit for how he played in that game?
I thought he played really well. Yeah, they won the game, and he threw 2 touchdown passes in the second half, and it was a monsoon. Did you not see how hard it was raining that day? I know I did because I was in the stands.
Okay, but I mean, at some point, listen, I got it. It was a monsoon, and he did throw one of his better touchdown passes of the year in that game. But he was 8 for 17.
You are not allowed to downplay that performance if you didn't sit in the rain. It was torrential. Torrential. No, you can't do anything in that kind of rain, let alone play a football game. And not only did he play, he threw the ball.
Okay, I'll give you the
They
nine.
won the game, and they beat a very good 49ers
I'll
team
give you
who
the,
got all the way to
that's
the
fine.
NFC Championship. And then he had one, what I would consider one or two great games his rookie season. One against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Steelers is one, yeah.
And then if you want to include the Lions home game where he played really well, had some great throws. They just, every one of them, they were like downed at the 2, and then they ran it in for a touchdown. I'm not a stat watcher. I'm a game watcher.
Okay,
and he played great in that game, even though the stats
Fernando,
won't tell you that.
I don't listen. He in his rookie season, he threw for 285 against the Vikings last game of the year, 26-39, touchdown, no picks. He threw for 291 against the Steelers, led him back in the fourth quarter, put him in position to win. Defense couldn't hold him. So that's still, to me, probably his best game as a Bear, 17-29. And then he had somebody get Braggs something to do whatever you're doing. Brick juice.
Juice.
Yeah. And then the Detroit game, he was fantastic. The Dolphins game was fantastic. The New England game, he played
fantastic.
Well.
What did you guys mention?
But my point is that
game last year.
If you boil it down, over half of his games are on the negative side versus the plus side. Now, I get it. It's about systems and Bears inadequacy and talent around him that has the most powerful impact on it, and I'm with SW Outletter. Stop snorting in the mic.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, if you could stop doing that, that'd be helpful.
I'm sorry.
You're literally snort. You got are you sick?
No, I'm fine.
It's all the Fields talk. Fernando wants to know what's being offered for the 2023 number 1 pick. I don't know if we can even remotely answer that. That's a tough thing to.
What is being offered for the 20? Yeah, we don't know. We don't know, Fernando.
Kind of what we're.
But I was having the discussion with people around what's of more value, the number 1 pick this year or the Bears quarterback? What has more value? I think it's Justin. I'm not sure. I really don't know. But
the number 1 pick.
You think the number 1 pick has more value?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Where's our poll right now as we wrap up this Fields convo?
66% no.
66%
no deal.
Okay.
That you'd agree to trade Fields.
All right.
It's the path of least resistance. If Justin Fields is the guy, then you build around him now, and the Bears will be better sooner than later. If Justin Fields isn't the guy and you traded him and you draft Bryce Young, it's a reset. So it's going to take longer for the Bears to be good. So we are all feeling that, hey, Justin Fields is the guy. Everything's going to work out. And that's how we always feel as fans. And it hasn't worked out in my lifetime yet.
Right.
And I am praying Justin Fields is the guy. I can't 100% prove it, but I feel very confidently about it. And I do laugh at the people that are completely out on Justin Fields because I just think that that's ridiculous. That's even more ridiculous than the people that are all in on him. I don't know how you can watch what he did last year and say there's no way he can be the guy.
You're welcome, Jay. I'm not sure what you're thanking me for, but we're gonna move on here.
Hey, do me a favor. Hit the like, everyone who's watching on the YouTube. I don't
Like
like the
button
number of likes.
hit the like button if you like how we handled that Fields conversation.
Exactly. We're very level-headed here at the CHGO
I thought
Studios.
we did an excellent job.
Hit the like if you enjoy snorting into microphones.
Or
if you don't,
or like
just
if
hit the
you,
like.
I always have a stuffy nose my whole life, okay? I'm sorry.
Yeah, just don't do it in the microphone.
Just remember, every time you hit the like button, you're helping CHGO and you're helping us, and we
Thank you, everybody.
greatly
I've been
appreciate
breathing
it.
through my nose since 8th grade. I don't even know what fresh air smells
Does that
like.
bother you in your sex life? Do you need a better sex life?
Here we go.
Just do the ad read.
I mean, 50% of men snort or do something
Don't
like
ask
you
me
do.
about the smell in my sex life.
I wasn't going there, but that's outstanding. But to me, that your snorting is kind of a symptom that something is getting in the way of you wanting to enjoy amazing sex. And the last thing we need is Braggs' snorting to impact what's going on at home with his lovely bride, Jenny. So, yes, I think everybody would like a better sex life. I know I would. Roman is here to help. This is the digital health clinic for men. So all online. We can do this from the comfort of our very own home. Braggs would not have to walk in any office and show the snort, and I'll do all that thing to get to worry about maintaining a nice, positive, strong, what's the word I'm looking for? I believe it's Ryan Pohl. How's that? Roman offers discreet wipes that last, that help you last a lot longer in the pocket than Justin Fields was allowed to last this season. With Roman, you can stay in the pocket.
God,
I mean,
I love this.
You can absolutely just hang out forever in that pocket with Roman, man. You are chilling. You are in that pocket. You are living the dream. You are making everybody happy because you're able to stay in the pocket a lot longer, which is fantastic. And by the way, as far as it's just going to be like the new Soldier Field too. When they build it on the lakefront, there's not going to be any waiting rooms. There's going to be no hassle. You're going to walk right into this beautiful dome stadium that Justin Fields wants to play in. He hates the wind. That was another thing that came out of his Super Bowl week. Straightforward digital experience from the comfort of your own home. Listen, you want Roman in your life. And to learn more about how you can achieve your personal sexual health goals, like the Bears going to the Super Bowl, you want to go to your own Super Bowl and be the MVP, go to ro.co/CHGO to get 20% off your first order. That's ro.co/CHGO. Hang in the pocket a lot longer with full force.
And
with our
today,
friends at Roman.
Luckily for all you fans, I've been entrusted with the ad reads as well. And I got to tell you about our guys at Green Ridge Farms because they helped us supply a lot of the meats at our tailgate events for CHGO Bears tailgates, and they were top notch. So Green Ridge Farm is a Chicago local meat and cheese company offering you a better all-natural option. Makers of all-natural deli meat, sausages, and their famous meat sticks. Perfect for tailgating, happy hour, and school lunches. These all-natural meat sticks are hardwood smoked for 8 hours with 16 grams of protein per stick. Make a perfect post-workout snack. Meat sticks come in chicken, black forest beef, and flavors like jalapeno cheddar and spicy chili. Haven't tried them yet? You don't know what you're missing. Delicious because they are made from recipes generations in the making, and being all natural, they deliver a fresh and flavorful alternative at snack time. You can always find them in the refrigerated section at Costco, Sam's Club, or in your local Chicagoland grocery store. Right now, when you order any 3 meat products at greenridgefarm.com and include a pack of meat sticks in your cart, those meat sticks will be free simply by using code CHGO at checkout. So go ahead and get yourself some Green Ridge Farms now.
Good stuff. Carm, you got to read this one from Riley. It's a nice super chat for you.
Mark, as much as everyone dogs on you, you still have the best morale of anyone on the CHGO Bears team. Bear down. Thank you, Riley. I'll take that compliment as much as I appreciate everybody else's morale around here as well. So
I would take a bullet for Mark Carman.
Back at you, buddy.
I don't think I would, sir.
I
really want to
take a bullet for you too.
Oh my God, thank you.
No, I would.
Now I will. Okay.
Just wrapping up the Fields conversation, I gotta say, Big Cat did a good job with this guy. So there's a couple of things that need to be highlighted. He also told some other people he wants them to draft Jackson Smith Njimba from Ohio State, who's projected to be a late first-round pick.
It's crazy how much his stock has fallen. That's a dream scenario for me that they end up with the wide receiver he played with at Ohio State. And Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave also played with Jackson Smith and Jigba, and they have been on record saying Jackson is the best of the 3. And when you look at how that helped Joe Burrow bringing in Jamar Chase, a guy that he played with in college, and that because you just can't teach that kind of chemistry, understanding how a guy likes to put the ball where you want to catch it, and understanding what the quarterback's trying to do for you, that kind of chemistry you just can't teach. So if we end up with, because I thought he'd be in the top 10 or top 15.
He's right now projected to be.
Now people are pushing him
late first.
Late first, early second round. That's a dream scenario for me.
Well, he's been hurt, didn't play, so he's dropped. And
great, let him drop.
Fields is shouting him out. So, hey, I thought it stood out. He also, I mentioned earlier that it stood out that he said I finally have an idea what our offense is. I finally have an idea. Okay. And he wants a dome. He feels slower.
What did he say? Bring on the dome?
He wants a dome, feels slower in the cold because he wears all the layers and all that stuff. He's talking to Aaron Rodgers. He's getting advice from Aaron.
I don't like that.
Oh, boy.
Yep. He
don't take the Ayazuka.
He said he loves how Rodgers handles himself both on and off the field. So if Fields is going to go into a dark retreat at some point, don't be completely surprised.
I was like so on board with everything until you started saying this.
I'm telling you, he called Kevin Warren a genuine person. He's a big fan of having Warren in the building.
All right, back on the right track.
He thought he was going to be he thought he was going to go to Carolina or Atlanta in the draft. Really wanted to be a Falcon.
Settle down.
Yeah. I know. Still text with Andy Dalton. Says Andy's always been great to me. Been like a big brother. And he gave Nick some credit too.
Seems more like an uncle.
Yeah.
Seems very old. I don't know.
And I thought did you have a guy in 7th grade or at any point in your life who would always make fun of you?
Yes.
Who was it?
Oh, boy.
Kyle Shimko.
Kyle
Shimko, when I'd get on the bus my whole life until high school, would call me Tomato Eyes.
Tomato Eyes?
And then one day.
What does that mean?
I guess my big eyes. Tomato Eyes.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, Fields called out somebody in 7th grade who his dad shaved his head and made him look all funky because he got a C in a class. So he showed up, and his buddy Jordan Booker, who he called out, was taunting him, and he left school. So, it made me think of two things. One,
some random names from some.
Yeah, here comes some random names. John Gerstein. We were in the cafeteria, Lawrence. The whole school. Gerstein's at the end of the bench cafeteria thing. Rips a fart and gets up, sprints off the thing and gets up. He's like, Carman, oh my God. And literally the whole school, this was loud, thought it was me. I mean, all the cute 7th grade girls, it was a traumatizing thing. Gerstein did that to me. And then I was thinking, Gerstein, Jordan Booker. And then I used to get in 8th grade, I would get this huge zit right on the nose, enormous. And Jeff Winokur in Mrs. Munsky's class was reading aloud in class, Tom Huckleberry Finn or whatever. And Muff Potter went down to the creek. Carman North Star. Whole class goes crazy. Munsky thinks Winokur's hysterical, and I'm sitting there like this.
I think I've done a better job of blocking out anything like this.
Have you blocked this all out?
I don't remember 7th grade.
See,
I remember playing floor hockey in 7th and 8th grade, and oh man, my buddy and I were like Lemieux and.
I was bullied.
Yager.
Names of people who bullied you or made fun of you. Chat.
I was
dial them up.
I was bullied growing up, and I was the bully in high school. I'm not proud of it. Kids are mean. I grew up. I eventually, by the end of my high school tenure, learned the error of my ways and made up with a lot of the people that I bullied. And became friends with them. But yeah, and then another guy, Big Red, who's some of my friends on our spaces we do. I told them the story that a guy named Big Red beat me up by the tennis courts at Windy Hill around like 12 people all laughing at me while Big Red beat me up. And I was a little guy back then, and Big Red was obviously big.
Yeah, sure. Trauma on the podcast, which takes us into our next topic. All right. You, maybe more so than anybody else, were upset, dismayed, beaten down that the great future Hall of Famer to be Devin Hester did not get in on his second attempt. And now we've digested some of the reasons why it didn't happen, and they're not voting for him because there's nobody like him in the Hall of Fame, just a special teams guy. And so there are people that are pushing back on that, a lot of people, that he changed the game and he deserved it, and and the belief still remains that he's going to get there. But as to when you only can put 5 in each year, and you're debating between everybody who's people who you play every down or play way more downs than Devin, it might take a while before Hester actually gets the right amount of juice in the right year to get in. So would you like to make the case or just talk about how you're handling this with
I'm definitely
you might be waiting a while here, dude.
I'm definitely not over it. And as every year passes, like some people are like, oh, calm down. Like I put a video out there the night it happened as I was leaving Mackey Arena and found out the news. And people are like, oh, calm down. He's going to get in eventually. No, I'm not going to calm down. He deserves to be in right now. Any player that's ever lined up against Devin Hester will tell you as much. Like, a lot of people always go to, and I've said it before, he changed the game. He revolutionized the game of football. I don't know if that's like the right wording, because it's not like there's been a bunch of Devin Hesters after him. It's not like the way Steph Curry shoots threes from half court. Now everybody shoots threes from half court. They changed the rule for kickoff returns. You could argue that wasn't specifically because of Devin Hester, but they did make different rule changes. A, moving it back. B, the way they could set up their block. And Devin Hester used to spring loose because of those blocks. Can't exactly explain it in perfect detail, but they did change some rules because of Devin Hester's dominance. But it's absolutely ridiculous, Mark. This is a guy that broke Gail Sayers' record in his second season in the league for return touchdowns as a Chicago Bear. Gail Sayers is in the Hall of Fame, and I understand he played running back, but special teams is a sport, is a position in this sport. He deserves recognition just as much as a great punter, a great field goal kicker, a great, long snapper, Patrick Manley. I don't care. He's a part of the league, and you don't write the story of the NFL without Devin Hester's name in it, period.
All right, so just a reminder, Braggs sent Devin. What'd you give to Devin Hester? You cut up.
Well, you've seen the DVD now because I played it at every tailgate.
He created a DVD.
Me and
for
my
Devin.
friend Kevin Marchino, we made a Devin Hester DVD of his first 2 seasons in the league, and it was every highlight we could possibly find. We had one highlight from high school, all his returns in college, and then all his returns in his rookie season and second season with the Bears. Sprinkled in a couple commercials from NFL Network and an interview he did with Deion Sanders, and just had some different things. And we put it all, spliced it all together. It's very choppy. You can actually find it on YouTube. It's called The Devin Hester Chronicles.
Yes.
Some of the music.
How many views?
I don't know, but some of the music is cut out because it was copywritten. But it is on YouTube, and I used to make DVDs, and my friend who has made graphics for me is a good graphic designer, and this was back when we were in high school. He made a DVD cover to where I took all the DVD cases I had from all the DVDs I owned, took all the covers out, and put these Devin Hester covers in, and then we sold the Devin Hester DVDs. I'm sure I'm implicating myself in some felony right now for selling NFL proprietary use, 20 years ago, but we did.
Devin Hester Chronicles Part 1 of 6 highlights. Is that you?
Yes, it's an hour-long DVD.
13 years ago.
13 years ago, and this was my grand idea, was that we were gonna make highlight DVDs of our favorite.
Are there
players.
6
and
parts of this?
What? Yes, there's 6 parts because it's an hour-long DVD, and that was the long. Just play the clips if you want.
No,
this is my pride and joy. This was like my first idea of things I wanted to do with the NFL. So I made this awesome highlight DVD. I actually gave him one at training camp back when it was at Bourbonnais, and me and Devin somewhat developed a fan-player relationship where he knew who I was because I gave him the DVD. At one point, he gave me a signed cleat his last day ever at training camp, and we're boys.
Yeah.
And so a couple years ago, I went to a signing, And I had him sign my copy of the DVD, and he goes, let me have this. I don't have this anymore. And I was like, Devin, no, this is mine. I was like, I'll make you a couple copies, and I'll give it to you the next time we're at Soldier Field. So I did that when his bobblehead day a few years ago. I do not have his number.
So you're not really boys.
Well, come on now. All right, so listen. I met him at Soldier Field the day of his bobblehead.
Lawrence,
when Patrick Mahomes came to Soldier Field and counted on his fingers.
And
I gave him 2 DVDs.
Pause.
I have a great picture of it.
Pause. Your mom's listening, by the way. Hi, Barbara. Good to see you. Are we allowing him to say that they're boys, Lawrence, when he has no contact
He
info?
knows who I am. I promise you, he knows who I am.
I think that's allowed.
Doesn't he have to get him on the show for them to be actual boys?
I tried last week to get him on the show.
I wonder if he would remember me. I actually did a video with him where he came to Chicago, and we watched old highlights of him in college, and he kind of talked to our guy.
Are you boys with him?
No, I don't think I would be.
I mean, that
was awesome, though. I remember.
I've interviewed Devin. I don't know if I would say that I'm boys with him. Actually, I wouldn't say that. But the point being, Braggs, let's get him on the show. Let's have his first reaction to.
I love Devin Hester.
Yeah, let's have his first reaction to not getting in and his disappointment and his optimism for the future. Hopefully, be right here. But what is obvious coming out of this thing is that I think it's gonna. I think you will get in, but I think we could be waiting a long time. Like I was under the impression that they just first balloted him and said no, we're not doing that, and to a special teams guy. But now it's more than that. There are a lot of people who are doing these votes that just don't think that he belongs when you compare him against somebody who played every down, either offensively and or defensively. And the only pushback that I'm going to give you, because come on, best to do it, put him in. This is obvious, but don't compare him to Gail Sayers. Gail Sayers, I heard about from the time I came out of the womb.
I will compare him.
You cannot.
I will.
Braggs.
I'm going to.
Braggs. People say that Gail Sayers, if he didn't get hurt, would have gone down as the greatest running back to ever play the game. He gets compared to Michael Jordan. Gail Sayers has you cannot compare Sayers to Hester. As a return guy, sure, fine, no problem. But as an overall football player, there's no comparison.
I just made it. I mean,
okay. Okay. All right.
Who has more Super Bowl touchdowns? That's what I thought.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know if that's fair.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I love Devin Hester, but come on.
When they show the NFL,
the
history of the NFL 2-minute highlight montage, who's more likely to make the highlight montage? Gail Sayers or Devin Hester?
I don't know. That footage of Gail Sayers scoring 6 touchdowns at Wrigley Field back
Devin
in
Hester returning the opening kickoff of the Super Bowl is the answer. Yeah. Respectfully, Gail Sayers.
I don't know. I think that's just because camera works.
Okay, this is your greatest, passionate, completely unhinged moment on the show
Brian Mitchell was the greatest kick returner of all time, and he shattered Brian Mitchell's records in 2 years. 2 years. You're talking about it's like Tiger Woods. Like with what he was specifically to do, the records he broke. He didn't just break them in a 12-year period. He broke them 2 years into the league. He could have retired after 2 years, and I would still have the exact same rant.
I'm not a big longevity guy. When you're at your peak, let's go. I mean, longevity matters, but it's just one of the factors. So I'll come with you there. He ain't Gail Sayers. All right. I promised yesterday.
Real quick, Enrique says, Super Chat for $2 says, just the A-team today. Rise and shine, the Bears. Thanks, Enrique.
Thanks, Enrique. Appreciate you. All right. So I said yesterday on the show that I would do a deep dive on Bobby Okereke. So let's start. Who's a linebacker who the Colts are most likely going to let go, who Matt Eberflus knows particularly well, and could be a Bears free agent target. You excited about Okereke? Because I think, by the way, Nicholas Moriano will be back tomorrow. I don't think he said his name right. But it's
the tweet I saw. You're going with that? Okay.
Yeah, I listened to him say it.
He said it.
He said it.
Okay.
So Bobby Okereke, first generation Nigerian American. He's got 2 older sisters, 1 younger sister. This is our future Bear. I'm just getting you ready for. He was raised on the 3 Ps by his parents who immigrated over. The 3 Ps. Anybody want to guess what the 3 Ps are for success?
Passion.
Passion is not in there.
Perseverance.
Perseverance is
Yes.
one. Perseverance is one of the Ps. Anybody else?
I see pride.
Pride is not.
I see power. I see a bad man. This is from Cool Runnings.
I was going to say
Blank.
pizza. Is pizza on there? Pizza?
Failing to.
Why are you're not laughing at
No
pizza?
pizza.
Come
No
on.
pizza.
Pizza.
Failing to. Preparation.
Oh, sorry. I stopped caring after you didn't laugh
Yeah.
at pizza.
And what's a P? What's a P Brags word that you keep going and going and going and going until you get?
Perseverance.
That's one, and there's another one that sort of falls under the same thing. You've been told no.
Persistence.
Persistence. Persistence. Persistence.
I just keep thinking of the Cool Runnings thing where he's like, tell me what you see. I see pride. I see power. I see a bad mamma jamma that don't take nothing from nobody. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's
Preparation,
fine.
perseverance, persistence. That's what he was raised on. Bobby Okereke. Coaches talk about it as naturally gifted and hardworking. He was a Boy Scout since he was 6 years old, stayed in scouting until he went to college. I feel like you might have done something like that. Were you
What'd
a
I
Boy
do?
Scout? Actually,
No, they
what
kicked
am I
me
talking
out.
about?
They kicked me out. I was for a minute, and they kicked me out because I wouldn't stop talking. We had this candle, and they would like anytime someone would break the rules, they'd blow out the candle. The candle was huge, and if it got all the way to the bottom, we were going to go to Discovery Zone. And every day we'd go, I'd get the candle blown out for my malcontentness. And the Boy Scouts hated me because they were like, get him out of here. We're never going to go to Discovery Zone.
I really actually just blew that because, of course, you were not. That was not you.
No
Okereke
discipline.
played soccer as a kid. He started playing football in high school. His dad thought that he was not like tough enough to do it, not man enough, but obviously that did not turn out to be true. He went to Stanford, phenomenal student, got great grades. 3rd round pick 4 years ago, number 89 overall. Pat McAfee announced it when he went to the Colts. And one of his philosophies is, quote, effort will never betray you. Effort will never betray you. More tackles every year in the league. I am all in on Bobby Okereke.
That sounds great.
Okereke.
I don't, like, you know, yeah, he knows that. Well, we brought in, what was his name last year from the Colts defense? That didn't work.
AQ?
What?
AQ?
Oh, you're talking about Matt Adams.
No, I'm talking about
Al-Qadim Muhammad.
Al-Qadim Muhammad.
Oh, yeah, that was
and
not.
he was terrible.
Right.
But I'm not going to say this guy is. You know, we need linebacker help. It's not at the top of our priority list. I mean, it's certainly there. That's fine. I know you're excited about him.
We have an unbelievable amount of needs, yes. So, by the way, just a reminder to everybody as we talk about Bobby Okereke and everybody else out there, we have a phenomenal draft board and free agent watch list that we have put together for you for our diehards, and it is straight contributed to by everybody here. We've gone above and beyond, and we'll continue to go above and beyond as we add on to it. So it's one of the great benefits of being a diehard. You're also, by the way, giving us the support that we need and we appreciate to the end of the earth. And there's a million other things.
It's really good information. I mean,
it's a
the guys are all diving real deep into it. Nick, Will, Adam, Mark. And it's good information to get you ready here for free agency and the draft. There's some stuff that only diehards are going to be able to get.
And when you become a diehard, you get invited to all our Zoom hangout cocktail parties,
happy hours,
where Braggs gets drunk and drinks whiskey. God bless him.
It's all good.
Yep. And of course our tailgates. And, of course, our takeovers, which the Blackhawks one was just awesome. I wasn't there, but, I mean, I watched the reviews on it. Did you go?
Yeah, I was there.
It sold out the whole deal, right?
It was cool, man. I mean, you know, it was fun to meet some fans.
And you guys got to go to the private Goose Island room, right?
Yeah, it was cool. It was, it was funny. We walked into the Goose Island tap room, and I'm just standing there getting a beer up front, and then Jake's like, there's a room back there for us. I was like, you should have led with that. I don't know why. Why am I standing up here with the riffraff? Come on. But, yeah, it was cool. Danny Wirtz stopped by.
And that's in the United Center, for those of you that don't know, the Goose Island Tap Room.
Yeah. And
loyal sponsors.
I was just annoyed the Hawks won.
Yeah, and
Other than that, good game.
become a diehard. Support us. We'll give you everything back that we possibly can, and then some, as we continue to build up. And of course, yes, I know that everybody's super interested on what's going to go on with the draft and free agency, and we're giving you all the candidates. Bobby Okereke, come on down. All right, Braggs, we got one more thing.
I sent you some slacks too, Lawrence.
Oh boy, here we go.
So I've got three anecdotes to end up the show, but first I got to tell you about our friends over at Game Time Tickets, my favorite place in the secondary market to load up on my seats to wherever I'm going, concerts, shows, Bulls games, Hawks games, all of it. Yes, you can save all the money with Game Time that you will not be saving elsewhere in the secondary market. God bless you, Game Time Tickets. Download the app. Over 15 million people have done it. By the way, if you really want to support us, buy your tickets through the link in the description. Let me just pull up Game Time right now and tell you that right now, wow, Bulls Bucks tomorrow night at the UC. People still want to go. God bless them. If you want to go upper tank, $83. Bulls fans, I got to tell you, you guys are unbelievable. Lawrence, Monday night against Orlando. Who the hell do you want to see on the Orlando Magic? No one. Wendell Carter
I know
Jr.
someone you want to see, yeah.
Right.
I mean, I would like to see Paolo Banchero.
You would want to see him?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But, that's because you're a hoop fan and you know basketball.
I like Jalen Suggs,
dunking
too.
over dudes this
and Zaga.
But it's not a big game. It's on a Monday night. The Bulls are in a slump. The place is it's completely sold out. I'm amazed by Bulls fans. They really are quite impressive. Game Time Tickets, your best place to get all your tickets. Download the app. What do you got, Braggs?
Well, I want to tell you about our guys over at DraftKings because I've been making a little money off them here lately. Yeah, betting during the Super Bowl, the coin flip, got a little cash on tails never fails. Lost a little bit trying to pick and choose who I thought the next touchdown scorer would be. Trying to get that plus money. But I did put a futures bet in on our Chicago Bears winning the Super Bowl with Justin Fields next year at 80-1. So I put $50 down, and I could get $4,000. We could get $4,000 in return when I win it. I also got some money coming down the line when the Purdue Boilermakers finally seal the deal on this Big Ten conference. Northwestern screwing with my money. Happy about that.
Big game tonight. Come out to Evanston.
Yeah, so just all you need to know about DraftKings is download the app now and sign up with code CHGO. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, with code CHGO. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
Your mom's back in the chat saying the Devin Hester DVD is awesome. Devin really appreciated it. He was very nice to Greg. That's so adorable. Mama Barb.
You're going to make fun of Mom. And I got a bone to pick with you, too, if we're going to go back on the Devin thing. Because that was the other thing I didn't bring up. I'm not mad. I'm more mad at you than I am at the Hall of Fame committee.
Really?
Because I have this reputation here at CHGO after my David Montgomery trade breaking news that no one can trust me about anything. And when the Devin Hester news was starting to surface, who was the first person to tell you they had sources that he was not getting in that morning?
You were, Greg.
I was. And he told me in my text, I should pull up the text. He's
ahead.
like, I don't believe you. Literally said, I don't believe you. How do you know? And I said, my sources. And he doesn't say anything about it on the show until Danny Parkins, old buddy Danny, precious Danny Parkins, tweets it out, and then Mark's reporting on it, and then Brian Urlacher, whoever that guy is, says he's hearing the same thing. Yeah. And at no point during the whole show, while I'm working in the mud, my buddy Mark Carman down at the Super Bowl can't even say, Greg had this.
You know what? I apologize. When you're right, you're right, and you are absolutely right. You had it first, dude.
Look at
you had it
me
first.
And my guy. Look how thrilled Addison is to be held by a future Hall of Famer.
She doesn't look that thrilled at all.
That was when he asked me for the DVD, and there's the DVD on the left. So I told him, okay, I will make you a copy, and then I ended up making him two, and there I am at the game where his bobblehead night, it was actually the same night the Chiefs played the Bears, and Mahomes counted on his hand how many picks. And Devin Hester, there I am, handing Devin Hester the DVD. Just look at the smile on Devin's eyes as he
looks
sees
happy.
his buddy Greg once again.
I love it. It's good stuff.
All right, so we got to get out here. I just got this circle from
I
Laura.
got Cubs coming up here, and
I just got to shout out one guy, my guy Jay, who is my new bestie Bears fan on email. Hey Mark, first off, big fan of the show. Hogan Johns brought me over. You guys are awesome. With that being said, as we're going back to the Devonta Smith conversation, with that being said, you knew it was coming. There is a penalty in hockey for embellishment. How do you say his name? Cale Makar?
Cale Makar, yeah.
Which we talked about in the show because he said that actually that wasn't a trip. I just fell, and he outed himself. Cale Makar was more than likely worried that after the review, it would be possible that he ends up in the box for 2 minutes for embellishment, which would be terrible for the Avs because he's really good at hockey. Anyways, I know you're not really a great hockey guy, but I truly believe if that rule didn't exist, he wouldn't have done that. Which, of course, if that rule existed in the NBA, LeBron would be in Spain. Have a good night and bear down. That's the email correspondence that I'm looking for. Jay, appreciate you. And
golf is the only place where they admit things that don't get caught.
Yeah,
right?
or some jerk who's watching calls you out for oh, it looks like your club touched the ground.
Yeah, the ball moved a little bit.
You should not be able to be penalized because some idiot watching.
Do you want me to save what happened on the Metro tomorrow, or do you want to hear it right now? It's pretty good.
Okay.
Is
it quick?
I was at this point really surprised that we hadn't gone on all these tangents with me and you here. You would have thought the whole show would have been.
We did get into the friends who made fun of you, but I think we've done a pretty good job. Thank you for watching today, as for always. Okay, so yesterday, you'll like this, Lawrence. I'm sitting on the Metro. I wasn't doing a show. I was reading. I was diving into Okereke. I was doing all that. And the conductor, sometimes the conductors just don't care. They don't check tickets. They're hanging out, whatever. This dude was on it. He's checking. And he asked the guy in front of me for his ticket, and I think the dude had screenshotted it as people who ride the Metro, his thing. And he's like, that doesn't look whatever. And so then I watched the guy on his phone basically buy the ticket and then shows him again. So he gets nailed once. And he bought zones A to C. Okay, so that's like the first. So you're not going all the way. You're just going to Zone C. Zone C ends at whatever point it ends at. This dude's still on the train. Conductor comes back to him and says, hey, dude, how far are you going? Mr. trying to steal your train ticket, not paying for him. I'm going all the way to Highland Park. Well, dude, you got to buy another ticket then. And the guy's like, well, how do I extend it? You can't extend it. You got to buy another ticket. So he got him. Now, my question is this. Should that dude have got? I would have kicked that dude off. Dude, get up. You're out of here. You tried to get me twice. You put your whole integrity on the line. If he had gone from DX or Zone H, it was like $1.25 more. You tried to save $1.25 because you're a cheap little whatever, and the dude nailed him. And so now I'm walking past him, and I'm thinking about saying something like, what got nailed, huh? Didn't you, buddy? Or whatever I was going to say, and I didn't because you never know what's going to happen in this world.
He was too busy doing a show to himself in the window.
Message from at the Carm to all you train riders out there: pay for your ticket. It's not worth it to.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think they should throw him off. I mean, he made him basically pay again A to whatever Highland Park is.
He A to, I think it's Deary.
So he had to pay A to C, and then he also had to pay A to E.
Right.
Well, you buy A to E.
Right, but he couldn't pay D to E, right? He had to actually pay for the full way.
No, I think he had to pay from then. He had to pay C to E because he had paid A to C.
Dylan Prescott is right. He's just trying to bring up an integrity story.
It is. It's an integrity story. Because
he tried to take a dude's ticket who cracked his head trying to see Michelle Obama's speech.
Oh, well. That's good callback.
That dude wasn't using his ticket. He wasn't using it. I was going to offer him dollars. I was sorry that he collapsed.
But he
and
was
fell.
unconscious. So
Well, his wife wasn't unconscious. She could have given me the tickets.
And I think, you never know. You never know where people's lives are. The $1.25 might be a big deal to him.
on this show ever. So, yeah, I'll never forget that one.
I don't know. I mean, yes, you should not try to cheat the Metro system. But
Because if you try to cheat the Metro system, what ends up happening to all the rest of us? Then Metro tickets go up because you're not paying. They're not making enough.
And where are you,
Then
Mr. Good Samaritan? Give the guy a couple bucks so he can make it.
He
to
didn't
Highland
need a
Park.
couple bucks. The dude's riding to Highland Park. He's getting off in lofty HP. You could afford the train ticket. Dude was sitting there reading his Socrates.
Hey,
sometimes
guys in Highland Park go bankrupt.
That's
true.
I don't want to stereotype, but that dude could afford his train ticket. Pay your money there, Metro Rider.
all right, we got to go.
You jerk.
We got to go. Wrap it up, gentlemen.
Have a great rest of your day.
It's
Thanks.
great you guys are back. I've missed you dearly. And it's so nice to be here and not 60 feet up in the air working on a chimney. I get to hang out with my good friend Mark Carman and Lawrence Benedetto.
That's
What
not
the hell did
even
you just
close.
say his name is?
Benedetto.
There you go. Tease. Benedetto.
I mumbled it. Benedetto.
As long as he didn't snort it into the mic. All right.
I think it's a great way to end the show with Elise Feldman. Don't trade Justin. We'll see you tomorrow.